always remains as gold, no matter what the form is. The form is the Maya. The form is our ignorance. And it is called Maya because the very description of Maya is you cannot explain it. You cannot say why it is there. And that is the definition. And also, you cannot say it exists and you cannot say it does not exist. That is Maya. So we need not worry about that. However, that is the beauty of today's understanding that because of this Purana, though everything shines, the reality is given to that everything by the knower or the knowing chit, which in the stula is seeing a world apart, which sees the world either which may affirm the world or deny the world. Affirming the world and denying the world are both activities of the knowing chit. So, whether we affirm or we deny, we may understand that there is a separation. When there is affirmation, also there is separation, and when there is denial, also there is separation. There is some movement. In that self, there is no movement. Even the Spurana is not there. This reminded me of that instance which Nandakumarji often quotes from talks with Ramana Maharshi, and I was also reminded of it because we are meditating on that in one of our productions right now, of the vision of light which the Jagadambika, when she comes to Arunachala, when she comes down to earth and she does her penance at Arunachala, she has a vision of all pervading light. And then the question arises in her, who is seeing this light? Who is seeing this light? And when that question arises, she also understands that which sees this light must be larger, must be vaster, must be more powerful than the light itself, because it is able to see the light. So if we just go back to that which is the knowing chit is far more powerful, far vaster than anything which it can see. And it alone gives power to that which it sees. That's why Bhagavan calls everything else as thoughts in the mind, and he says it's all jada. But the I thought, which is the knowing chit, which in its very core is the Spurana. Its core, just the I thought alone, without any addition, that what Bhagavan calls the Adishaya Shakti in Ashtakam, that Adishaya Shakti of the self is the Spurana, which knows itself and then knows the other objects. So the transition in when we go back in self-enquiry, it is of course we are not too much worried about the sensory world in self-enquiry because we would have already come to the point of understanding that the entire sensory world exists for us only within the mind in the form of thought. Everything exists only in the form of thought because it's not there in deep sleep. So the world of thoughts exists in self-enquiry to begin with, and there is the demarcation between the thoughts and the thinker. The moment a thought arises, Bhagavan asks us to question ourselves, for whom is this thought? This question, the purpose of this question is to re-establish the demarcation. There is what today very beautifully has been called the revelatory chit, which is the thought, which is the object part of the mind. And there is the knowing chit, which is the I thought, which knows the other thought. So Bhagavan is asking us to become alert to this demarcation. The question for whom is this thought is the alertness. Oh, there is this division which is there. So this object part, something is revealing itself. But why is it revealing itself? For whom is it? This knowledge of the revealing of the other thought is only for me. So who am I? So Bhagavan is taking us back to that Tattvamasi which he is talking about. He defines Tattvamasi as the core of Arunachala, Satya Chitsukamandri Parauirsar Aikiyam At Tattvamasi Arunapurulam. He says Arunapurulam, Arunachala is that very Tattvamasi. And Satyamangalam Venkatramayar in Ramanastuti Panchakam, he takes us back to the further core. When we ask, who am I? And even the Spurana is silenced, then he says, Bhagavan remains as Asipadat Turuvanavan. Not even Tattvamasi, but only Asipadat Turuvanavan. He says, and as Nandakumarji has repeatedly said, it is the promise of the self, it is the promise of Bhagavan, it is the promise of self inquiry to take us back to that core, to our own natural essence, and establish us over there. Om Namo Bhagavate Shri
Namo Ramana.
Ramana. Sir, amazing, sir.